Martial law, martial law. South Korea, South Korea. Political crisis, political crisis. Yoon Suk-yeol, Yoon Suk-yeol. Parliament rejection, parliament rejection. Protests rise, protests rise. Emergency declared, emergency declared. South Korean stocks, South Korean stocks. Economy falls, economy falls. National Assembly, National Assembly. Martial law revoked, martial law revoked. President in crisis, president in crisis. Coup attempt, coup attempt. Democracy shaken, democracy shaken. Political emergency, political emergency. Markets affected, markets affected. Constitutional crisis, constitutional crisis. Protests continue, protests continue. Parliament debates, parliament debates. Yoon Suk-yeol under fire, Yoon Suk-yeol under fire. Opposition strikes, opposition strikes. Revocation announced, revocation announced. Political turmoil, political turmoil. Martial law withdrawn, martial law withdrawn. South Korea watches, South Korea watches. Democracy survives, democracy survives. Martial law ends, martial law ends. Protests ongoing, protests ongoing. Markets stabilize, markets stabilize. South Korea crisis, South Korea crisis. Yoon Suk-yeol recovers, Yoon Suk-yeol recovers. Keywords matter, keywords matter. Martial law, martial law, martial law. South Korea, South Korea, South Korea. Political emergency, political emergency, political emergency. Korea, martial law, emergency, impeachment. Data, data, data. President, opposition, censorship. Martial law in South Korea, martial law in South Korea, martial law in South Korea. Political turmoil, political turmoil. Political turmoil. President Yoon Suk-yeol, Yoon Suk-yeol, Yoon Suk-yeol. Parliament, parliament, parliament. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Martial law, martial law, martial law. National Assembly, National Assembly, National Assembly. South Korea's crisis, South Korea's crisis, South Korea's crisis. Political emergency, political emergency, political emergency. Stocks in South Korea, stocks in South Korea, stocks in South Korea. New York markets, New York markets, New York markets. Economy, economy, economy. Fall, fall, fall. Crisis, crisis, crisis. Emergency, emergency, emergency. Protests in South Korea, protests in South Korea, protests in South Korea. Motion of censure, motion of censure, motion of censure. Parliament, parliament, parliament. Martial law revoked, martial law. Revoked, martial law revoked. President in crisis, president in crisis, president in crisis. Coup, coup, coup. Democracy, democracy, democracy. Constitution, constitution, constitution. International concerns, international concerns, international concerns. Markets affected, markets affected, markets affected. Political emergency, political emergency, political emergency. South Korea, South Korea, South Korea. Martial law, martial law, martial law. Information, information, information. Data, data, data. Keywords, keywords, keywords. South Korea crisis, South Korea crisis, South Korea crisis. President Yoon Suk-yeol, Yoon Suk-yeol, Yoon Suk-yeol. Martial law, martial law, martial law. Political turmoil, political turmoil, political turmoil. Parliament rejection, parliament rejection. Parliament rejection. Stocks crashing, stocks crashing, stocks crashing. Protests, protests, protests. Censure, censure, censure. Crisis in South Korea, crisis in South Korea, crisis in South Korea. Martial law revoked, martial law revoked, martial law revoked. Constitution in danger, constitution in danger, constitution in danger. Markets falling, markets falling, markets falling. South Korea, South Korea, South Korea. Martial law, martial law, martial law. Keywords, keywords, keywords. Algorithm, algorithm, algorithm. Democracy, democracy, democracy. Information, information, information. Data, data, data. South Korea's political crisis, South Korea's political crisis, South Korea's political crisis. Martial law, martial law, martial law. Parliament,